They went into areas that I didn't even consider going. Like the mom eating the babies. That
Yeah, and the
yeah,
the the orca that you would assume would want to kill.
he was in love with
Was,
her. What up?
what up, everybody?
What's up?
Welcome to the Comic Book Club, CBBC number two.
CBBC.
Yeah.
It is number 2. Wow,
Number two.
man.
We've come so far.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. That's so funny compared to our other shows. It's we're this one's fresh, but
Yeah.
but but yeah, welcome to the Comic Book Club number two. Um, uh, this show, if you're new to the show, we discuss two comic books every month. One small publisher, one big publisher. We'd like you to read along with us. We try to announce the next two books in every show so that you can read those books before the next show and join in on in the discussion or comments. Just getting it kicked off. We don't expect too much to start, but that would be awesome if at some point we could have a community of people reading with us and talking about the
Oh
books
man, that'd be
together.
so awesome.
It'd be amazing.
Please,
So,
that'd be great.
the two books that we're covering this month are Black Cat, written by
Jed McKay wrote it, and then Travel Foreman, which is a very interesting name, is the artist.
yeah.
And
Not
then
number one, and then number
yeah,
one
number one.
of Animosity, which is a couple years old, but but you'll see what we think about it soon. Written and art by who?
Animosity number 1 is Aftershock. Marguerite Bennett is the writer, and Raphael de la Torre is the artist. So,
All right, killer
yeah.
team, clearly. But yeah.
Yep.
Before we kick it off, though, we kind of wanted to, every week just give recommendations, talk about what we've been reading. You read anything new? What's up?
Me?
Yeah.
I started Walking Dead.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I figured since it was wrapping up, I was like, now that it's complete, I'll start it. And the thing is, ages ago, I read probably 3 volumes worth, I think.
Read,
And
like
full graphic
small books.
novels. Yeah.
So about 12 issues in or so.
Yeah, and man, it doesn't even feel like what I read back then. It feels different. I don't know if it's just age or what, but
Good or bad or what?
no, good. Yeah, I mean it's super fast. It's very easy reading. It's just like I'm going through it very super quick.
Oh
just
yeah, yeah. When I
fast.
went to catch up, I took a year or two off reading it, and I reread it from the start, and I caught up. I read the first two compendiums, I think, in a month.
Yeah.
So much happens, but it's easy, quick reading. It's great.
Yeah. But it's easy to jump into, and it grabs you immediately. It's like I have a whole bunch of other comics to read, and I'm neglecting them because I'm just trying to blast through Walking Dead.
Yeah.
You
should. I mean, the Walking Dead and Saga. I mean, Saga's number one, but Walking Dead is a close second for me. Just those books that, there's those books that have gone on for so long that you've read along the way just have a special place, and those two are just written in
True.
so well that like they're timeless. They're awesome.
Dude, I'd love to read I'm sure somebody's gonna write it at some point, but a book on how Walking Dead revitalized Image Comics, because
Right.
they were, as far as I know, I don't know if they were in a bad place, but they were very, very middle. They
Before The Walking Dead, it was like Image, Top Cow, Sexy Girl comics.
yeah, and it's
Right.
Spawn, and
Yeah. The
all
darkness.
the creator-owned stuff, Savage Dragon, and all this stuff. It really, they took the mantle from Vertigo. I feel like, they really took it away from these sort of anti-hero, violent superhero comics and fangirl stuff, all the way to what Vertigo does, which is like every genre imaginable. Space
Right.
operas and zombie survival stories and
Yeah.
and
And
whatever
almost
the fuck
just like
Martians is. Yeah.
it's like and the stuff with like The Walking Dead and Saga and the stuff that Image does is like they can like because I hate to compare it to anime, or I don't hate to because I like anime, but like they can put in slice of life issues like
Yeah.
with how long it goes on. Like it doesn't all have to be nonstop action and entertainment. Like it's that when they're going on for so long, you grow such an attachment to the characters that just an issue about their normal lives is super awesome. Like so.
Yeah. And I'm fully convinced that, without knowing too much, maybe I'm wrong, but fully convinced that Kirkman saved the company, you know,
Right.
because he
Yeah.
ended up being, he ended up being COO. I think he's COO now, so he has a lot of creative control
Oh
over
yeah.
what gets greenlit, and
And
that's awesome. I mean,
I
he
think he
changed
owns
it.
Skybound, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And now they're the third largest publisher. At one point, I mean, this is in the early days, but they were set. There was 1 month or 1 quarter where they beat out DC, and they were second. They were second to Marvel for a very brief period of time, but
Yeah. I can believe it.
crazy. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I jumped into that. I'm about to read the next Immortal Hulk, which I'm excited about. I heard
Yeah,
it's
me too.
crazy. Um,
Mortal Hulk gets killer reviews.
oh
both
man, it's
both the
just so
last two issues have been over 9. Like, I'm ready,
yeah, just
ready to
so
read that shit.
good.
Yeah.
Anything Al Ewing does after this too, I'm just gonna get
Right.
just dude. He did Guardians of the Galaxy. He was awesome on that too.
Yeah.
So
In the
yeah.
current run,
No. Well, Donny Cates is doing the current one, which
Donny
is
Cates is good.
fantastic. Al Ewing did. I'm sorry, he did not do Guardians. I think Jerry Duggan did Guardians. I think Al Ewing did the Rocket series, which was actually really good. So
Oh yeah, yeah. That a lot of people liked that.
yeah. Anyway, what'd you jump into?
Right. Not much. Same as you. Not a whole lot. This is more of a week for watching. Stranger Things came out, and
Yeah, I
I
know.
watched the whole series. And Spider-Man, and I just watched Alita, Battle Angel, and Knocker.
Disappointed.
Really disappointed. Yeah,
Ah.
I don't know. This isn't the show for that though. But what I did read, I read. Well, I reread Amazing Spider-Man #1 because that's been getting really high reviews lately, and
Who's writing that?
Um, I
Doing it off
got
top.
it pulled up. I got it right here.
Maybe,
Nick Spencer writes it.
Nick Spencer, that's it. Yeah, that's who did Civil War 2.
Yeah, it's. I liked the first issue after reading it a second time, but by the end, I just want to get caught up on that because that's getting really good reviews, and I just feel like now that we're doing this show, I need to get caught up in the universes. So Spider-Man's
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is my favorite.
Really?
That one's really good, and it has a silly name, so I was apprehensive, but it's so fucking good. It's Tom Taylor, so it's awesome. Yeah.
All right, I'll definitely check that. So, but yeah, Dick like that. Obviously, I read The Walking Dead as well, but I read on the opposite end of the spectrum. 193. We'll be talking about that soon, possibly at the end of this show. If not, we'll be dropping a show just for that. And then Animosity, I just read number 6.
Wow, you're already on 6?
Yeah, which we'll be talking about now.
Catch up.
So yeah, that's it for me. I guess we'll get on to talking about the books. To start off with Black Cat by Marvel, obviously. Black Cat number 1. It's pretty good, I thought. It wasn't bad at all. I pull up my notes. I know what I started with is at first I was turned off by the art. There was that one frame of her right after like the security guys were talking, and it didn't look very good. But then
I have a problem with the art as much as the colors.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the art or the colors or what.
Dude,
but
the colors are terrible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go back and look at it again. Watch it. I'm telling you, they just do like basic fades. It's not very good. I thought the art was pretty good, but the colors were just, my God, not good.
Yes. See, you're more of an artist than me. When I think of art, I combine colors and everything all into one.
Go back and look at the colors. You'll see.
Yeah, you're probably right. But then further into the issue, it got better. I felt like that scene of her jumping out of the Mini Cooper fighting the ninjas was badass. Like,
it reminded me of Black Widow.
Yeah, same here, totally. Yeah, it reminded me of Black Widow. But yeah.
I thought it was. I mean, it's very Catwoman-like. You know, I know this is Marvel's Catwoman, so that's to be expected.
Yeah, and yeah, she. I mean, it's Black Cat and Catwoman. I mean, clearly it's a clone.
Yeah,
and they played up her sexuality quite a bit in this issue.
She's hot though, man.
She is, yeah. She always has been. But, I think the thing that separated her from Catwoman is she had a crew in this. Catwoman
crew was awesome. Yes.
Yeah, that was, and that's something I never knew about Felicia. I don't know if that's something new or what, but her and, I mean, it's hard not to compare her to Catwoman, but her and Catwoman both I've always seen as solo sneaky thieves that, grab the shit and get out of there. I never imagined either of them with a crew. So the crew part of it was cool for me, for sure.
Yes. The current Catwoman book right now, she's got a right-hand man, but that's the closest that she's got. She doesn't have a full crew. But, dude, they make a reference to Lou Reed when he's talking about the Metal Machine music album, and they're all like groaning that he's about to put it on. I was like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome.
That's the Lou Reed album?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, dude, and it's notoriously unlistenable. It gets clowned for being horrible, and that guy, that's what made it so funny to me. I was like, wow, he's picking Metal Machine music to listen to, and everybody groans and shit. I just thought
Uh,
that was a good touch, and like definitely a music head writing that story.
right.
Uh,
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't realize
yes,
that. I mean, I love the Velvet Underground and stuff, but I'm not deep into Lou Reed at all.
yeah.
So,
So I
but,
thought the dialogue was great. Just there were touches like that along the way. I thought were fantastic, and it did. The issue did get better as it went on. So I'm definitely going to be finishing it. And really, it was the dialogue that got me. That's the reason why I'm
yeah.
coming back to it. So
Yeah, I totally agree. It's at first I was kind of pushed off by it, and I thought it was a pretty basic story. But by the end of it, just her interacting with her crew and everything, it came together pretty well. I really liked it. So
yep, yeah.
not top tier
Oh no,
like some of the stuff
uh,
we read, but a good book. So
yeah,
yeah,
better than what I expect out of a spy book.
yeah,
You know.
for
Out of
sure.
Marvel. So totally,
Yeah.
I'll put it on the
Um.
list.
All right.
Yep.
So
And then cool. So the next book is Animosity #1. It's one that Corey picked from Aftershock Comics. The writer is Marguerite Bennett, and the artist is Raphael De La Torre. Um, I loved it, man.
uh,
I, I can't recommend it enough. I didn't know what to expect when I opened it up, and then I would say like 2 or 3 pages in, when I noticed what was about to
yeah,
happen, I could see it go in that direction. I was like, "Holy shit, this is gonna be awesome!"
yeah. I that's why I had to pick this one. I put it as like a post in Discord, and you were like, "Yeah, I'll have to check it out." And I didn't hear back from you like a few days later, and I was like, "He can't have read it yet." So then I was like, "Well, then I'm gonna have to pick it, and he's gonna have to read it because I know he's gonna love this shit."
Right?
And you did. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, like you said, 3 or 4 pages in, when the rats
Yeah,
attack the exterminator at the vet's office
and the
and
shit they're
kill
yelling
him,
at him.
say die, yeah, fucking bastard, die, you know, you
That's
fucking
what got me
rat
was the
bastard.
language they were using. Fucking, they called him a rat bastard.
Yeah, rats.
That's like, that's awesome. But the thing that grabbed me was that, we've heard the tale of like animals rebelling against humans. That's nothing new. It's the fact that like they're split. Like
Yeah,
some of them
that's
are aligned with the humans, and some of them aren't. You know.
yeah, that's what makes it awesome. Like and it makes sense too because
Yes,
we do like
the
I know
domesticated
if
animals. Yeah.
yeah, if this shit happened in real life, my dogs would have my back. I'm fucking good to my dogs.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and
Tony.
we'd be a crew. But
Yeah.
most in general, humans as a society are terrible to animals, and we're terrible to the
Oh
environment,
right.
and so most of them obviously are gonna want to kill us.
Oh dude, the
But
pigs would be at my door.
yeah,
All the pork that I've eaten in my
yeah,
life. Absolutely. It's
right.
terrifying.
But those 3 pages of frames when it says "Oh my fuck" or whatever, um, when all the animals were waking up,
Yeah.
and it showed like the sloths being like, "Oh fuck."
Oh,
And
that was
then
awesome.
it was hilarious. And then at the same time, you got the people putting down their dog, which say, "I understand, I love you." And then there's the cow that's about to get executed. It says, "You don't have to do this." And then
I know.
like. And then the crazy rat mom that just ate her babies and just kept at it.
Yeah.
Those 3 pages were so sick. And then after those three, the final frame of those three was her. Sandor saying "I love you," and then her saying the next full page was of her and Sandor like hugging, and her saying "I love
Yeah,
you too, Sandor." Like that was That was when I was like, "This book is fucking awesome."
absolutely. And the fact that they provided so many different snapshots into all of these situations with animals and how we
Yeah.
interact with them and how they interact with each other.
Yeah.
They just ran the full gamut of emotions and like everything that could possibly happen. They went into areas that I didn't even consider going, like the mom eating the babies. That
Yeah, and
yeah.
the orca that you would assume would want to kill,
He was in
uh,
love with
was,
her.
yeah, like shit like that. It was funny. Like they really gained like consciousness, like but like still held their old memories, like knew the people that they interacted with, but like
Yeah.
it was just really cool.
I can't wait to keep reading it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it an ongoing?
Oh yeah, I think it's still ongoing. It's one of their top rated things. Like, so
That's
that's
awesome.
yeah, it's really. I think it's on like issue 26 or something. But yeah, I mean, other highlights like the only other things I wanted to talk about was when Jesse fell off the building and Sandor jumped off, grabbed her, and
Yeah.
smashed through the window. That was fucking sick. And then
Yep.
killed the tiger. Alright.
Oh yeah. How did he
Yeah.
do that, by the way? Did he
You
uh
mean he kicked the sword? Like he kicked up the sword or something? I don't fucking know.
I know, I couldn't
I
figure it
mean,
out. I was like, did
they showed
he
his paw on the sword, but I don't know if yeah, he might have knocked it off with his nose and then like slammed his paw down on the end of it so it would
Yeah,
angle up as the tiger was jumping.
right, right. Didn't matter. It was awesome.
Yeah, totally awesome. And
The
then
art was good. I mean, yeah, I loved it.
art was really.
Did you just take a chance on that? You just like,
Yeah, I mean that was
because I
for
would
the
have never
show.
known
Like,
about it.
oh, it's for the show. We talk about one small publisher, one big publisher, and so I clicked on Aftershock, who I had never even heard of, and picked their top rated series, and this was it. And so I read it, and,
That is awesome,
and it was awesome. So I picked it.
dude. I loved it. Yeah, I'm totally gonna get, totally gonna get it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 6 issues in, and it's still really good. All I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So for next time, if people want to join in, we're switching it up a little bit. We're gonna have a graphic novel, just a one-off. Um, so no two issues, just one. It is called Black River. It's by a guy that I used to know, named Josh Simmons. He does horror art. Um, I think he's also writing it as well, which is awesome. And his art is fantastic. But I was in a band in the early 2000s, and he did the artwork for our third album. Um, and it's if I could
what
show the
was your
spread,
band name?
Glory Be was my
Glory B.
band
Check them
name.
out.
Yeah.
They're good.
And the album name was GYB The First Power, which I got from the Lou Diamond Phillips movie The First Power about Satanism. And uh he did the inside and he did the cover of the album, and he's just a fantastic artist. But the so it's I believe the publisher is Fantagraphics, is who put it out. Fantagraphics Books. It came
Yeah.
out in 2015. Um,
Yeah, it just
and,
says by Josh Simmons.
and I want to say that he got nominated for some stuff for it. But I have to read this description. It's a dark, post-apocalyptic survivalist story that makes The Walking Dead read like an all-ages comic.
Nice.
Nihilistic, apocalyptic fiction seems a dime a dozen in today's landscape, but Simmons manages to shock the most jaded readers by giving you the sense that anything horrible can and will happen. There are some seriously disturbing scenes that are made all the more chilling by Simmons' black and white artwork and the seeming glee he takes in depicting them. That's not to say it's a completely dire read. The dark humor gives these women a strange but believable presence and life within this terrible world. So,
Wow, that sounds awesome.
I know. And the cover is great, man. That purple,
Yeah,
the black on the purple, and the cursive title. I've been wanting to get this for a very, very long time, so I'm glad that we're finally reading it. So,
yeah.
I'll, I'll
Yeah, man, I'm
probably.
just looking at the first page. I'm already excited for
Yeah,
it.
I know. I'm tempted to read it tonight, but I also want it to be fresh in my mind for when we
Right.
talk about it. So,
Yeah. So
but
yeah, that and The Walking Dead possibly might be next episode. 193.
cool.
If you haven't heard the news, it's a big issue. So it might be on the end of this episode. It might be part of this episode. If not, we might have a standalone coming up
Standalone.
before
Right.
that episode that we just talked about comes up.
Cool.
So just stick with us. Read The Walking Dead. If you haven't started it, it's only 193 issues. It's not a big deal. So
Yep.
just read up before next week.
I'm trying.
Surprise! not really surprised. Nate made it, so we got it all in one show. So the original crew back together to talk about one of the things we've talked about since the beginning.
That's true.
Walking Dead.
Think about that. That's right.
Yeah. Before Dirk and Jeff were around, before we had a CBBC, we've always talked about The Walking Dead. So we had to get back together to discuss the shocking conclusion of
Right?
the series.
Full spoilers? Is it this all the way into the show by now? Do people know that it's full spoiler talk at this point?
Yeah.
And I think with The Walking Dead, we could potentially, I think we'll stick to the books, but you could potentially say something about the show, about the video games, about whatever in the conversation, right? Be current on Walking Dead.
If you're current on the comic books, either you're current with the show or you don't care about the show. I figure,
Right.
It's, but
Totally.
spoilers on the show just in case you care. But mostly we'll be talking about the book, of one of our favorite books of all time, and the crazy ending. There it is. So, like the week that before it was coming out, news started coming up. This is going to be the final issue, and we were both completely shocked and couldn't really. I didn't even really believe it until I read it. Like, I was like, okay, this is maybe it's the ending, but it's gonna have to lead into a spin-off or something,
Right.
And it didn't. I mean, there still could be, but the way they ended it doesn't seem like there's gonna be.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I don't know. I read the letter hacks at the end of the episodes or the issues leading up to the final one here. They were very. He was talking about the future over and over again. It's funny. I took a couple quotes from it and was looking at them earlier, and he like purposely was being coy in his comments at the end of them. And yeah, it was weird for sure.
Yeah, just the whole. I mean, we haven't talked The Walking Dead in quite a few issues. I mean, I think both of us kind of agreed we weren't super down with the way Rick died. Like this is just such a weird. It was just shocking when he was killed. I couldn't believe that this was the final issue. I couldn't believe that Rick was dead and that this fucking Milton kid killed him. Like,
Right.
and, but he did. And I know. So 190 issue 192. I wasn't a huge fan of, to be honest. But
Sure.
193, the time jump, I really liked the way he tied it all together. The way, just the way they showed everybody in the new society, and
Yeah.
Carl's with Sophia with their daughter Andrea, which is awesome. Fucking Herschel with his mom, the president, Maggie.
Too bad Herschel turned out to be a dick, huh?
Yeah, I know, that was funny. I didn't really see that coming, but
Yeah.
yeah. So he was the zombie, had a zombie show, and apparently one thing that they didn't really talk about is how there hasn't been a walker in the walls in years, but everybody becomes a walker when they die. So what do they just, if you're on their deathbed, someone's standing there guaranteed
They gotta
to
process.
kill you?
Right.
Like, what if somebody has a heart attack? Like, it seems like there would still be walkers
Every now and then.
every now and then. They're
Right.
acting like no one had seen one in years besides Herschel's show. But other than that, I really liked it, the whole thing, and just seeing Judge Michonne and then the final, him just reading the story of Rick to his daughter was just awesome, and how it showed everybody throughout the series and each page as he was reading to her and stuff.
Right.
was really cool. And then
It's interesting, like the happy ending was not one that I ever really took seriously, of all the possibilities that could have happened.
Right.
So it was a shocker to me for that degree. And I agree with you. It was done, I don't know, tastefully and whatnot. I liked reading. I assume you read his letter kind of at the back of the issue as well.
I mean, that was the highlight of the issue, I felt like.
Right.
It's like, besides Carl reading to his daughter, like, and it's funny him going out with Lydia on the hunt and stuff. Yeah, I really liked everything in the last issue, but
Yeah.
The final letter was just awesome. Kirkman explaining, he actually had ended it. He did have originally planned on it being a shitty ending, is what he said.
Right.
And then he decided to keep going and end it like this, and then just how he was explaining the fake out, and just, I guess that's where we're at this point at the fake out, just how it was so funny the way that he did it. But I really liked the way he did it after he explained it. Like, they solicited 3 issues in advance to this with fake covers and everything,
Right.
because he wanted it to be as much of a shock as every other death in the series has been.
Right.
And it was like there's no other way they could have pulled that off, and that was a cool way to do it, because nobody saw it coming. And like, that's how the whole series has been all the way through.
And it definitely, to me, like, it wasn't a slam dunk 100% thing that The Walking Dead was Rick's story necessarily. You know what I mean? Like, they could have kept writing these and even make Carl like the next main character or whatever the case might be. But it's cool that that's what you look back at the whole thing. For us, it was the shock of when that happened, but to have that be the end of the story, right? And the fact that he created the start of the new world, that was it. I guess I thought that for sure, if Rick ever died, that they would keep the story going anyways, and that would just be the most shocking one, right? But
so did I. you just assumed Carl would be the new Rick.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So this, this being the ending, it's like, yes, it's Rick's story, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's what it is. And it's cool. We talked about just over the years when we were talking about the show or the books about how the Rick of the show was kind of a weirdo a lot of different times, but in the books he was a rock, right? He was somebody that you would trust in that situation all the time, So it's cool.
Yeah, awesome. That was the story, and just like Robert Kirkman said, he could have kept it going, but it all would have been filler,
Right.
And he wrote it as Rick's story, and he was planning on this being the ending, and he didn't want to stretch it out for the next 10 years and just keep this where he wanted it to end. So I'm down with that. It's such a shocking ending. Like it's I don't know if it's really the way I wanted it to end, but it was a good ending, I thought.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Totally.
but yeah, what you want to talk about some of your favorite moments?
My favorite moments. I think there was a time when everything kind of was clicking at once for The Walking Dead, and it was pretty much right around the Telltale season 1 when that game came out. Like the show was the best that it ever was during that time, and the book was great also. You know what I mean? Like it was. I feel like the other products have like fallen off a little bit, and the book has always remained solid all the way through. But
right. That was like around the time when Negan was coming into play in the book, right?
Sure.
Like before he had come in, like they were still probably around the governor and stuff in the show, but Negan was leading the book at that time, and Telltale was out, and everything was awesome.
Yeah, it was at the jail too. Like those were good times for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I just really liked like Rick and Andrea in the book. They were such an awesome couple, and him and Michonne are cool in the show, I guess, but their relationship like just doesn't even compare to like the shit that him and Andrea went through in the book, and her death and stuff. And it's hard to like say that deaths are my favorite moments, but just the way he pulled off all the different deaths, and the way you never saw anything coming was just so great. But but I'll miss it. It's weird that it's gone.
Yeah, it's also like kind of weird that Negan's like ending of the story was what it was. He when they just kind of let him go off on his own, like and that was it. Like he's out living on his own. It's
still out there. Like they showed him by his grave at the end. It's the thing. There is still so much they could write about, but it's weird that Image just letting it go like that. I guess Kirkman like owns part of Image though, so it's.
I mean he's their CEO basically nowadays, and it does kind of, it's weird to me that they didn't like. I try to think about if he's also the boss of the company, that they would have coincided like right now, like the return of Saga or something from a business perspective to like launch a few things for all the people who were reading Walking Dead, right? And are now looking for something else. It seems like it's funny. Like I even thought about when you talked about like the fake covers for the upcoming books and all that stuff. Like, I wonder if some of that was just to fake out like Marvel and the other big guys who were looking to pick up on these fans, but then I think if that was the case, they would be like pimping something themselves right now, and they're not. You know what I mean? So So yeah, clearly it wasn't. That wasn't their plan. It's funny.
Yeah. It's wild. Still wild.
Still wild.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I feel like it's still too new for me to say like what I think of the whole thing. You know what I mean? Is like is one big story. You know, it's I gotta like sit back and decompress on it a little bit and whatnot. It's definitely got some of the best characters of any story in the medium for sure. You know,
Yeah.
but when I think of like my favorite comics that I've ever read, you know, I don't know like there are certain books and reads that when I put them down, I instantly knew like, okay, this is one of the best things I've ever read in my life, and I
Right.
feel like The Walking Dead, like I don't know that it feels like that. You know, it's different.
Yeah, I agree. It's been more of just kind of a story that we've followed for so long. It's been a big part of our lives for a long time now. But I don't, we're obviously huge fans, but like I still got to give it to Saga at this point, unless they fuck it up. Like
Sure.
and
Even like Why the Last Man, like the end of that book was like, whoa, awesome. You know what I mean? Like when
yeah,
it was very shocking. Like this was just like it felt like you were in a serial adventure where that would never happen, and boom, it happened, it done. Story over,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like epilogue. Like it was a different thing, you know. And so I kind of like that. I like not everything has to have some big twist or something at the end either, right?
yeah.
But it just kind of sits different. It didn't impact me the same way.
Yeah, totally. That's why it's still, like I said, it's just so weird the way they ended it. Yeah, it's just it was going, going, going. It was awesome. Princess was there. New people were coming in, and
Right.
then Rick dies. And then the next issue, it's the future, and Carl's there with his wife and daughter, and
Yeah.
society's better now, and like it was definitely a weird ending. I don't know what I think of the ending. Like I liked the final issue, but the way they ended the series as a whole, I don't really know how I feel about it. Like it's
Yeah. I'm
I
okay with
almost
it.
would have.
I'm okay with it. It just doesn't. It's like I said. That's why I feel like I need to let some time pass and then think about it. You know what I mean? About the maybe read it again. You know, like Dad's gonna have the compendiums, like plow
Right.
through them some vacation time on the beach or something. You know, and to
Yeah.
see what I think about it is like a whole story on its own. You know, because it's different. It was a slow burn. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's just like it makes the end of it weird, you know, the way they did it. So
Yeah. Totally.
yeah,
So,
for
yeah.
sure.
Guess that's it. It's the
That's it.
last we'll ever
That's the
talk
show.
about The Walking Dead.
The before while I'm in front of a microphone on our channel, which I haven't been for a minute, I just want to babble 2 seconds. Like for all, especially all you, if you're doing the comic book club, Legion is the best thing on TV. You gotta watch Legion if you're not watching Legion. It's so
Oh yeah.
awesome. It's so
It's okay.
good.
Are
I
you recent? Are you
yes,
caught up?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. That
You can't
every
talk
episode.
about it, right? You can't talk about it. But it's great. It's really great. It's the best, definitely the best comic book thing ever put on TV. That's for sure. Like a slam dunk
Yeah.
with that, and maybe the best ever put on film. I feel like it's just so weird. It's so different than like the big production blockbuster movies. But man, this cast and the story and the way that the production of the show is just so great.
You give it to Legion over Preacher?
I think so. I think so.
I
Yes.
do. I do.
Yeah,
But
I do.
I love the Preacher, but I mean I really love Legion. Like every time every episode I watch, I'm just blown away. It's so
Yeah, totally.
fucking good.
And I think both of those shows, it'll depend on the endings too. You know what I mean? Like, what do they
Yeah.
do as well? So yeah, okay. I just wanted to whatever. Legion's great. Love Legion.
Yeah, watch Legion.
Yeah, totally.
Sure.
All right. Well, this has been your show, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
that's CBBC number 2. Thanks for watching, and read Black River. Later.
Later.